We are going to discuss about the kings. You know, the 5 kings or the 6 king. It depends. If the 5 king or the 6 king that signed the Ducor contract, you know, for the land to be sold, you know. So we are going to discuss this today, all right? Because I see some historical errors. I saw some historical inaccuracy. But you can leave your thought, all right? You can leave your thought. We are here to learn from each other, all right? So we all know that our people back then, all right, they carry their native name. They do everything in a native way, all right? If you see today, a lot of people in Liberia, they having those Western names is because of the influence of the American Liberian. You know, when they came with Christianity. They built schools, they built hospitals, they built market grounds. If you want to go there, definitely you need to do some things. You need to maybe change your name. You need to change your religion. When you're part of the African traditional religion, you need to change your name. I mean, say you need to change your religion. Because at that time, Islam was already there. So if you are Muslim, you have to change your religion to the Christianity. All right. But let's come to the names. Let's discuss the name. All right. Let's discuss the name. For example, if you go places like South Africa, if you go to South Africa, before their native king name were like their native name were King Shaka Zulu. All right. King Shaka Zulu. That's their native king name. If you go to places like Kenya, all right, you will see their native names, their native name or their native king name, or King Nabongo or Mumia Shiidu, all right, or you hear Uhuru, you hear Jomo, you hear Kenyatta, all these native names, all right. And then when you go to places like maybe Ethiopia, all right, you go to Ethiopia, you hear Negusa Nasat, all right, or you hear like Haile Selassie, on all those native Ethiopian names. When you come to Nigeria, you hear Obinna, Chidima, you know, Obinna or King Danfodio. You hear those native names. When you come to Ghana, you know, you hear like Kofi, Berima, you know, even up to now, there are kings that they have. You know, there are kings that they have in those regions. They still have some king in those regions. You hear King Otomfu, Osei Tutu, all right? Kwame, you know, the Kwame Nkrumah. All those are native names. I will be getting. But when you come to Liberia, you come to my country, Liberia, our historians said that 200 years ago, 200 years or 250 years ago, our native king was King Peter, King Jimmy, King George, all right? King Jack Ben, Bassa man like King Jack Ben, Bassa man, the way in which our people were stubborn to change their name, and these people, you know, when the Portuguese came, the name that they were calling our native king with, this is the name that they still call our kings, our native king. This is the name that our historian, our Liberian historian, Joseph Seguano, went and took that name and tried to hire the native king names. All right? Because, you know, all those names that the Portuguese gave were Christian names, but these people were not Christian. The kings, they were not Christian. None of them were Christian, but there were 2 Muslim kings among them. The 5 king or the 6 king that signed the Ducor contract, 2 of them were Muslim. King Kaanda Jola from Southtown, between Bomi County and Barovia, from the time of Clay, he was a Muslim. And that one is clear. That whole region is an Islamic region. He was not an ATR man. He was not part of the ATR. He was a Muslim. He was not pagan either. King Ba Gokro was a Fulani. Whose grandfather left from where? From present-day Mali. Where is present-day Mali? He came down to Nima, to Rivers Steamboat, Grand Basso, and then his grandchild, which is Gogro Ba. Gogro Ba had the largest territory. He was a Fulani Gogro Ba, but they tried to put the King George into the name that the Portuguese were calling him. They didn't call him Gogro Ba. Why will you give a name? Why will you record a name that someone mom and dad didn't give them, and then you take a name that someone called them with? You record it. All right. Although it's there, the both name is there, King George and Gogro Ba. But at least these names are not the name of our native people. Why include this name? So anyone who does not read out of the curriculum, they are going to be brainwashed out. Because when you see the name King Jimmy, King Peter, King George, and you know King Jack Ben, you will say, oh, these people were Christian, because these are all Christian names. These people are not Christian. None of these people are Christian. It's easy. It's very clear. It's very, very clear. It's there. They try to change these people's name so that they can Christianize everything. This is not about religious discrimination. Whole other factor constant. Whole other factor constant on religious discrimination. All right. But this is what we're trying to say, that there are a lot of historical inaccuracy in our history of the Republic of Liberia. All right. King George Bag Gogro, which is a Fulani. Gogro is a Fulani name. Gogro. Ask any Fulani, they will tell you the meaning of Gogro. Gogro is a Fulani name. This guy had the largest territory. Cape Monserrato, Old Crew Town, some part of Singo and Congo Town. He had the largest territory. All right. When the American Liberian came, they met those people. All right. Bro, these people, they were never a Christian. These people. All right. And they never wanted to stay under the rules, under the leadership of the American Liberian. They said no. They said these people can come and meet us here, and then they come, they rule us. No. And the American Liberians who say no, these are native people. You know, they have never been to school. They don't have Western education. We can't allow uneducated people, illiterate people to rule us. All right. Although some of them had Islamic knowledge, all right. Although some of them had Islamic knowledge, but the people don't consider it as knowledge. They want the Western education. All right. So when the American Liberian came, they just settled right to the place in Monrovia, to Randolph Street, Gary Street, Asmo Street, all those places. You know. That they were settled. They formed their own country. They founded their own country 1822, and they declared independent 1847. That was only Liberia, right to Monrovia there. And then Liberia expanded to Grand Bassa, Sando County, Maryland, and Grand Kimo. And then Liberia started expanding. Right over there, they founded the country. They put everything in. Where the American Liberian left from America, they left on a nation that was not a Christian nation. America is not a Christian nation. America is a secular nation. They left on America, they came and they founded a nation, and they put everything in Christian principle. The Declaration of Independence was what? It was signed in the church. It was signed in the church. Right to Asmo Street there. All right? And then these people founded this nation. But they met Muslim people on the land. I hope you get it. But in 1986, when Doe overthrown, by 1980, to overthrown to about 1986, they revised the constitution and make they understand that, oh, this nation, Muslim was here before Christianity can come. They make the country into a secular nation. I hope you get it. Okay, but what I'm trying to say is that a lot of historical inaccuracy in our history. A lot. The history there are a lot of places that were omitted, and there are a lot that was added. I hope you get it. Even Emmanuel Bouet. I think most of you guys know Emmanuel Bouet. Emmanuel Bouet, one of my favorite. He was a deputy minister of telecommunication during Torba time and some part of Do time. All right. He was also a pastor. He was a pastor. He is a pastor man, but he passed away. May his soul rest in peace. Emmanuel Bouet. Emmanuel Bouet too said the same thing. Emmanuel Bouet said that there are a lot of historical inaccuracy in our history. But the people are not trying to say it. They are just doing everything based on sentimentalism, based on tendency, favoritism, religious discrimination. All right? We are all one people. Liberia is not a tribal nation. Liberia was not founded by any tribe. Liberia, if you see you are Liberian today, it is because of the constitution. It's not because of the tribe. If you think that you are a Liberian because of your tribe, you are lying. Then I will tell you that 40 to 50% of Ivorian are Liberian. If you say it is your tribe that make you Liberian. If you say it is your tribe that make you Liberian, now I will tell you that Guinean, 50 to 60% of Guinean are Liberian. If you say that your tribe make you Liberian, then 30 to 40% of Sierra Leone are Liberian. If you say it is a tribe. So it is the constitution that makes you a Liberian, not the tribe. All right. Thank you so much.